Today's guest is Larry Chapman, Director of Collections and Loan Support at Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union. He's been in the industry for over 20 years and is passionate about helping members back to financial good standing. Larry, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
So today's topic, we're going to be talking about guiding customers back to financial good health, especially those that are in more vulnerable situations. But before we get into that, can you tell me a little bit about how you found yourself in this industry?
Yeah, so I started in the industry around 23 years ago. Started out in the banking industry, as you stated earlier, and started collecting on the phone, dialing customers, calling for past due loans, and really just hit as a passion. Kind of wanted to understand a little bit more about it when, we're talking to members every day, listening to their stories of their situations, and just wanted to figure out a way. I really got into the industry that way of trying to learn the processes, learn what could be offered, how we could do it, and then was kind of moved through the process in that way.
As you mentioned, you started off in banking. So I enjoy the fact that you're going to have a unique perspective from both the credit union and the big bank perspective. I was looking at your LinkedIn and you've worked at big banks like BB&T and Truist. So what would you say is the big difference in your approach when helping banking customers versus your current credit union members?
Yeah, I think with a credit union, we all sell the same products. We all, are in the industry together. I think the major difference is, as a credit union, we sell the experience. We want our members to feel welcome. When they walk in the door, we want them greeted. We want to be able to, all the way through the area where I manage, and that's the default area. And we want them to talk to us early. We want to be able to, really understand their situation. And overall, we just really care about the actual member, about the situation. We try to help everybody that we can. We listen to them, we interview them, we try to go through their processes, figure out what's caused short-term, long-term. And really at a credit union, it's, again, it is more of a individual account by account basis. So we can really spend the time, talk to our members and show them, even though they're going through a tough time, we want to be able to help them out.
Okay. And of course, customers everywhere, no matter banking, telecom, any industry, have very high expectations for customer experience. But I would assume that at a credit union, that expectation might even reach a new level, especially when, working with this kind of vulnerable situation. Would you agree?
Yeah. So within, there's a lot of guidelines that we all have to follow from the big banks to, the credit union. So we all are following those rules. But what you don't get is you get the individual person on the phone, you get the individual person, and we offer solutions. So when we start out with a member, even if we can't do what they're requesting us to do, we will still be able to not make them feel like an outcast. We want to make them feel like, they're part of us. We want to talk with them. And even in the tough situations where we have to deliver that not so pleasant news, so to speak, it's delivered in a way, again, that, lets them know that we've really tried. It's not, we're just looking at a manual and saying, okay, here's the box and this is what you do. We're able to kind of, really listen to the member, figure out their situation. And again, if there's a way to help them, we can, for sure.
Let's talk specific strategy. So walk me through, you have a member, maybe they're a new member, maybe they go back generations of being a member at this credit union. How do you handle having this conversation and then helping them go from there, from the initial conversation to helping them make sure that they're staying on track with payments, et cetera?
Really, the overall process starts with the member either reaching out to us, either, through the branches or through just, giving the customer service a call and letting us know that they're going through or going through an issue. So what we do is we get them in, we sign them to an individual, and we walk them through, and for lack of a better word, we interview them, right? So we find out what's your situation. Sometimes we know ahead of time. The earlier we know, obviously, the more options we feel like we have, just because we're not pressed up against a clock of any sort. But we walk through their process of what's going on. Is it short-term? Maybe we have a short-term solution. Is it, a career change, a loss of job or of a loved one or something that's considerably going to be a long-term. So it really depends on their situation, whether, what program we can put them in, so to speak, or what process we can work out with them. And we walk them through the process. We we'll request documents from time to time, making sure, that what's going on is really affected. And then we walk through the process, give them a call back. We stay in touch with them, get them back on track if that's the goal, obviously their goal. But when we're interviewing them, we want to know what their process is, right? What are you looking for us to do? So it's important to know, where they're wanting us to go so that, we can kind of, try to meet them or at least meet in the middle. But I think it's the overall personal touch from beginning to the end process where, we just have to make that phone call either to let them know, hey, here's what we're going to do and work with them through that. Or we call them and let them know, if there's not any option that we have available, then we even offer other solutions. Like, if it's a vehicle where we can work with our dealers possibly to, trade it back in or go sell it, maybe not be the full value. And then we work out an arrangement on the deficiency balance. So we're not just causing even more further harm to their financial situation.
That's great. It sounds like you really put a lot of time and effort into strategizing with them, what will ultimately help them end out better than the situation they're in now.
Yeah. And I think the other process is when we talking to the members is, we have a situation to deal with, right? And so no judgment, no processing. We just really look at the process and say, okay, we're here and they have a goal. The members have a goal. We have a goal, obviously. And so we try to work with them and work together to get a solution. And, again, we're not able to help everyone, right? There's just certain situations that it doesn't work out. But in most of our processing, there's some sort of process or solution that we can come to. And at least we let the member know or able to give them that call back and not just, not call or whatever.
Absolutely. I was speaking with another director of collections from a credit union recently on the podcast, and they mentioned that the members are extremely appreciative that, the credit union is there for them beyond just helping with basic repayment plans, like offering financial education and helping them kind of figure out where their downfalls might be when it comes to managing finances. Do you have experience with that as well, with your members kind of coming out of this difficult situation with some, of course, appreciation, but a different kind of positive outlook on the credit union itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime we help a member out, it always has positive impacts across the community, and part of that is the financial education of what's led them to this situation, whether, especially in the situations where it's not a substantial job loss or something of that nature. It's just, rising interest rates or whatever the situation is. We walk through the financial well-being process of, okay, here's where the expenses are, here's where your finances are, and try to walk them through that. And it always comes out, especially obviously the ones that, we can help or at least walk them out of the process so they're not scared. And they really, the feel of the holding hands, so to speak, from start to finish, it always has the impacts of, the ones that we help, very, very rare that they'll come back through the process, if that makes sense. So we know that it's working.
Oh, that's great.
That it's helping out our community and helping out the processes and for our credit union.
Yeah. And how big is the community at Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union? Do you have a lot of members? Is it more localized to just one area in Tennessee?
Mostly in like 17 counties. We have branches in Tennessee and Georgia. And so it's all within, a surrounding area. Obviously, we do have members, in other parts of the country through our charter. But, for our overall communities, we have several different pods of communities, I say it, so to speak, all in one. And, we're very active in the community and reach out, and do events and sort of things like that to obviously help the members, show them, we're helping out other organizations and try to stay online with that.
Yeah. A concept that we cover a lot on this podcast is using collections as a brand loyalty opportunity, because you really are helping them. It's easy to help a happy customer, right? But it's more of a challenge and also very rewarding to help a customer leave a very vulnerable situation like this with a better or equally as good outlook on your on your credit union.
Yeah, and that's what we strive to do. We want to be the soft approach, and within the whole team is you should get the same reaction when you're talking to one of our collectors, so to speak, one of our employees, that you would as a teller or that you would as a loan officer making the loan. We want to be that enthusiastic about speaking with the member, working through the process. It's for lack of a better word, it's really exciting when they will work with us, when they will call us back. There's a lot that because of the stigma of collections, right? A lot of folks get scared because it's several things I try to teach my teams over time. Is like, hey, these it's embarrassing. It's the customers are nervous because they're hearing all sorts of stories, all sorts of, I guess, threats or news articles that will scare them. As like, you can't, if you talk to them, they're just going to be rude or mean to you. And some companies may be, but overall, that's what we can do is show that, you're not going to get that if you call us. We're going to help you out. We're going to do everything we can, and we're going to explain it to you in the language that you're going to understand. Like we're going to not just say, well, sorry, we don't have a program for you. If we don't have a program for you, we're going to explain, hey, here's the situation, offer, like I said, the early sale of a vehicle or, some other process that could be available, so that everybody says, well, we don't want the vehicles back, or we don't want the homes back. And that's 100% true. But then we go above that and make sure that, we've checked every box that we can, and we've looked at every situation differently, from start to finish, so that we know when the inevitable does happen that, we've done everything we can.
I know you mentioned the interview process and obviously holding their hand, guiding them through beginning to end. Very customer-centric, very humanized. Is there anywhere that technology comes into play in your strategy, or how you help identify the plans or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have our core systems and our collection systems. That's kind of how we communicate through, with the members through several different avenues. Like I said, when the members come in, they can log on to their accounts. They can, notate, make notations and send messages out to us, to our teams to find out that they're having trouble, that they're needing assistance. We monitor, our credit portfolio just like most companies do, and try to get ahead of early delinquencies, early. We try to start out with them, very early on in the process, and with our reach out and our processes.
Are you dabbling in AI at all, or interested in incorporating it?
Yes, we are in the early stages of looking at that. We have a couple processes more right now internally of kind of taking up some of the mundane tasks that are happening all the time, of notating systems, moving accounts from one place to the other. We haven't rolled it out live yet, and we haven't I've developed it out on from the customer base yet, but we're definitely looking at it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure everyone is. I feel like a big theme on my guest here is a lot for the menial task, which I think is a good thing, right? It's AI can do a lot, but then you can get really overwhelmed, and then it doesn't actually really do anything at the end of the day.
Yeah, we plan to use it for sure in the short term is to help kind of identify accounts and move accounts to, and then do some of the back end processing, the early stage processing of just doing the maintenance tasks, so to speak, that someone today may be doing manually or following up on manually, and not necessarily on the customer centric side at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And then getting rid of those tasks means more face time with your team and the actual members.
Yeah. There's a lot of paperwork obviously that goes on with any of these situations, but the more we can do, the push a button clicks and move on with the better off, right? We all would be. It frees up more time as members continue to come in. So
Larry, it's been really great having you on the podcast today. Is there anything you would like to touch on before we sign off?
No, Christina, I think I really appreciate you having me on today and giving me a chance to kind of speak out and answer any questions that you had, and hopefully this will help some others, anybody else that's listened to the podcast with, especially with the credit union, and understand that, there's options out there, and hopefully, biggest thing is, teaching them early contact, the better, right? So.
Absolutely. Thank you.